Welcome everyone to a new video where we dive once again into the fantastic world of dinosaurs. Here we have a great specimen of Tyrannosaurus rex. As you know, it was one of the largest carnivores that ever existed on planet Earth. But the best part is that this dinosaur is a 4D puzzle. That means this figure can be taken apart into a total of 55 pieces. You'll see how much fun it is. Also, in this video, we're joined by other types of dinosaurs. For example, here we have a herbivorous dinosaur from the Triceratops family. Although, as you can see, we can notice several differences. The main one is that this one doesn't have the 3 large horns on its head. Instead, it has one in the center of its frill and 2 on the top, one on each side. Also, as you can see, it has a strong beak, something characteristic of herbivorous dinosaurs. We also have here a Pachycephalosaurus, a Stegosaurus, an Iguanodon, and also a big Carnotaurus. Look, I also love this one because it comes with sounds and also with lights in its eyes. Check it out. By pressing its jaw, it lets out a big roar and its eyes light up green. As you know, the great Carnotaurus was known for the 2 horns on its head. However, they weren't very big. Also, just its skull was already gigantic. That's why the sides were flattened. This way, it could lighten the weight of its head. As you can see, it's a bipedal dinosaur, and its front legs are very small, but it had 4 strong fingers. It used them to catch meat and bring it to its mouth. But now, let's take a look at the great Tyrannosaurus rex we have here. Look. Here on the box, we can already see some lines, which indicate that these are pieces. Let's turn it around to better see all the details. Apparently, it comes with a stand. That's great, so we can stand it up. It's held in place by this small wall. It also tells us that the pieces simulate different skin textures and colors. And even though we can see the whole figure here, if we take all the pieces apart, it would look like this. So the most fun part will be assembling and disassembling it as many times as we want. Now, let's open the box so we can see the figure up close and appreciate all the details. Wow, it weighs more than I expected. We removed the plastic, and remember friends, whenever we have plastic, we should keep it to reuse it for something else. And if we're not going to use it again, we need to put it in the yellow bin so it can be recycled. And here we have our great Tyrannosaurus rex. Honestly, this figure is really surprising me. I like it a lot. It's also quite heavy, which tells us that the pieces are really good quality. Look, as you can see, we can see all these lines. And that's because they're all pretty small pieces. As I mentioned, there are a total of 55. And now let's look at the features of this great Tyrannosaurus rex. It was one of the largest predators that has ever existed on planet Earth. Its skull alone could reach up to 1.5 meters in length. Up close, we can appreciate all the details of its jaw. It was equipped with a total of 60 teeth. Some were bigger than others, but the largest ones could reach up to 20 centimeters. That is, its teeth were about the size of an adult's hand. Impressive. It could reach about 12 meters in length, from the tip of its mouth to the end of its tail. It was also a bipedal dinosaur, walking on its hind legs. Its front legs were very small, and here we can see something very characteristic of T-Rex. It only had 2 fingers on each of its hands. Here we can see the footprint of our great Tyrannosaurus rex. On its hind legs, it had 3 toes and a much smaller one on the side. It also had a strong and long tail, which was very heavy, and it served as a counterbalance. A truly fascinating dinosaur. As you can see, if we leave it like this, it doesn't stay up. So we need to place the stand. Let's see if it's in the box. Let's see, I think it's in here. Yes, friends, take a look. Here we have the platform. It looks like wood, but it's actually not wood. It's plastic. We have to put the base right here. We've already set it up, as you can see, very easily. And now we can place our T-Rex. Let's put it on the floor to see it. It's just there to support our T-Rex right here. And that way, it stands upright. It's a super simple mechanism, but it helps it stay up. Because without the platform, as you can see, it would fall forward. Because it's quite heavy. Look, friends, now I'm going to show you something super important here. These are the instructions for our puzzle. As you can see, everything is explained step by step. 1, 2, 3, up to a total of 10 steps. If we follow all these steps, we'll be able to rebuild our great T-Rex. The most fun part of all is that we can do it together with our friends, our parents, or even with our family. That way, we can spend time together. How about we start taking it apart? I don't really know how to do it, look. We just start taking out the pieces, and our dinosaur, our big T-Rex, starts to disappear little by little. Now, let's start taking apart the tail. Just in the tail, we already have a bunch of pieces. This would be the tip piece, and we're going to take them all out. As you can see, they're pretty easy to put on and take off. Afterwards, to fit it in, we just have to line it up with the matching holes. And what was once a great figure of a T-Rex is turning into absolutely nothing. Now, we're going to take apart the central part of its body. Notice how all the pieces fit together perfectly. Let's take everything off. And being very careful so that none of them get lost. Because if we lose a piece, we wouldn't be able to put it back together correctly. Look, we have very little left now. As you can see, they stay in place well. And our dinosaur has turned into all these separate pieces. We just need to separate part of its jaw. Here, we need to separate the lower jaw part. We've got it now. And now the upper jaw. Now, friends, it's completely disassembled. Now, we're going to use the Big Book of Dinosaurs to discover more information about the T-Rex, especially to read some fun facts. Look, on these pages, there's a really cool illustration to give us a better idea of what it was actually like. It also tells us, as a fun fact, that a child lying down could fit inside its mouth. In the Dino Facts, it also tells us that it could reach about 6 meters tall and weigh between 6 and 10 tons, depending on whether it was an adult specimen or if it was male or female. It also specifies the meaning of its name. Its name means tyrant lizard. Also, another thing I like is that we see a photograph of fossil remains of the great Tyrannosaurus. And it makes a comparison with the skull of a gorilla. So we can see the difference in size. Impressive, isn't it? And to finish, friends, since today we're talking about the great T-Rex, I've brought several Tyrannosaurus Rex figures here, so we can see some differences between them. Look, here we have this figure that I also love because it's articulated and can open and close its jaw. As you can see, the fangs are a very yellowish color. Let's take a look at this other one because it's a very similar figure. But just like the Carnotaurus we saw earlier, it also makes sounds and its eyes light up. Let's press its jaw. Voila! It makes two different types of sounds. The sound of its big footsteps and the sound of its roar. Also, its eyes light up in red. I love it. Over here, we have another great Tyrannosaurus Rex. A different figure because it's much heavier and also not articulated. It's made of rigid plastic. The only thing it can move is the jaw. Voila! If we open it, it reveals its red tongue. And now let's take a look at the Trex figure I like the most, which I saved for last. It's this one right here. I love it because it has a lot of details. Look at the difference in colors and textures. Also, the jaw is impressive. Look at all these fangs, and especially at its tongue. It's also a rigid figurine, but the best part is that if we turn it around, we can see its entire skeleton in fossil form. You already know that the science that studies dinosaur fossils is paleontology, and it's paleontologists who are responsible for unearthing all these remains to extract information about them. Nowadays, we can enjoy and see some of these fossils in natural history museums in different parts of the world. And now, my friends, we've finished today's video. I'll stay here and take all these pieces with me to let some of my friends know and start building it at my own pace. As you can see, you need quite a bit of time and patience to rebuild it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, you can help me by giving me a super like, a thumbs up, so I can keep making lots of videos for all of you. And now, it's time to say goodbye. I hope you have a fantastic day. See you in the next video with more amazing dinosaurs. Bye!